is a difference between you and me. We both looked into the abyss. But when it looked back at us, you blinked.
Hi guys, I'm Gravy here, and this is a DC Legends video. So, I'm going to be honest, I recorded this yesterday, and then come to find out my sound didn't work. So I'm having to re-record it again today, but in any case, I woke up the night before last in the middle of the night, and I'm going to go ahead and get this video kick-started. Yoop. I woke up in the middle of the night and ended up like just checking my phone because I'm an addict. And I saw that the Nightmare campaign had already started. I had completely forgotten that the Nightmare campaign was actually starting. So I ended up like just trying to start to play, even though it was like 4 o'clock in the morning, 3:30 in the morning. And of course, I was running it on auto and I was falling asleep halfway through. So half of the stuff that was happening, I didn't see. But in any case, you'll see here, this is me like picking out my team to do it. Now, I'll give a couple of comments beforehand, and I also got my Yoda, Dr. Zabarro, to give some of his advice on it. First things first, if you're early to mid game, this isn't meant for you, meaning that you're not going to be able to complete it all. So don't get frustrated, don't get upset because you can't get past the challenge. Just go as far as you can. Dr. Zabarro is actually provided the audio where he's just going to outline what each node has. And so that'll give you like a goal to get to maybe 3 or 4 or however far you can get into it so you can get those resources. This was a pretty good source of resources. And the plus side to my video not working yesterday and being able to record it today is I thought that this would reset daily like the anniversary event that we had in last fall, but it doesn't. You just beat it one time and it's over. If I had one negative to say about this whole event is that there's a couple of other things that are slightly negative, but that would be the main one, is that I wish it would have reset daily for those 3 days so that we could just keep going at those resources. So that would be my one wish. Of anything that could be changed, please change that. Other than that, I feel as though the content was, you'll hear some people complain about it being easy, but we're in-game, so it is harder than the normal content. But for some in-game players, it is still going to be relatively easy to walk through. They could have made it a little bit harder, and Dr. Zabarro kind of gets into that as well, so I'll go ahead and let him run his spiel. And then I'll give you the ideas behind what kind of comps we should do. So I'll go ahead and kick it to Dr. Zabarro and let you know what he has to say.
Hi all, Dr. Zabarro here. Your host, Hungerfur, has invited me to say a few words and respond to the Nightmare Challenge. So first of all, I think we should recognize that this is clearly largely copy and paste of the anniversary event that we experienced last fall. And the rewards are very similar, except the character fragments have been removed and the waves are slightly different. I would like to talk about the pros and cons briefly. I'll start with the pros. Obviously, the pros to this event are the rewards. And I'll just take you node by node real quick here of what each node presents and sort of the theme of each. So node 1, you face the Atlanteans and you are awarded with 15 green rings. The second node, you face the Birds of Prey and you're rewarded with 10 blue rings. The third node, you face the Shazam family and your reward is 5 red rings. The fourth node, you face the Justice Society of America and you're rewarded with 2 white rings, 2 black rings, or life and death rings if you prefer. The fifth node is the Bat family. You get 500 legendary essence. The sixth node is the Legion of Doom. You get 1,000 legendary essence and 1 Rebirth Crystal. The seventh node is you face Kryptonians and you get 2,500 legendary essence. The eighth node, you face the Titans and you're rewarded with 5,000 legendary essence, 2 Rebirth Crystals. The ninth node, you face the Lanterns and you're rewarded with 7,500 legendary essence. And the final node, the 10th node, you face the Justice League and some of the Apocalyptians. I'm sure this is a nod to the recent release of Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League, although not all the characters that we see in this waves are in there, but do fit with the theme. So in this node, you're rewarded with 10,000 legendary essence and 3 Rebirth Crystals. So for a total, if you do the whole event, you can get a total of 6 Rebirth Crystals and 26,500 legendary misses, which is rather significant, I think, provided how scarce these resources are in the game now, and this is going to be a monthly event. One of the cons and one of the disappointments after reset today is finding out that this event is not resetting in play, so for you to play again and earn those rewards again, like the anniversary event did last year, so it is not doing that. Some of the other cons are a number of people experience bugs, and I'm sure they'll work that out, but I think the biggest one that a lot of folks had expectations and high expectations for, especially folks at my level playing at 70-11 or 80-11, really looking for a challenge, and this event turned out to be very easy. In fact, I primarily autoed the whole event except for a few places where I used Polita, and I like to use her second rather than her third ability. And if you put it on auto, she always uses her third, so I manually used her occasionally when I used Polita. But otherwise, if you have Black Flash and Leg Survival Support Suit, they will carry you through this. Also, Superwoman will carry you through this if you have these particular characters without any problems, as long as your characters are level here. So those are some of the cons. Overall, though, I would say that the event was a very good addition to the game, especially considering that it's filling a gap in some of the imbalance in the scarce resources, namely the blue rings and Rebirth Crystals. Hopefully they may ratchet up some of the challenge to it in the future. I thought, for instance, why are some of these characters neutered from the regular mechanics? For instance, Barda and Superman don't use their regular powers, and if they did, yes, it would truly live up to its name, be a nightmare, because those characters are very difficult to beat. But isn't that what we're looking for? So, just my thoughts on the Nightmare Challenge. Thanks for listening.
And thank you, Dr. Zabarro. A large part of that I agreed with. Like I said before, the whole fact that it doesn't reset, that bothers me a good bit. I wish they would have reset it. And being greedy, I wish it was like a 4 or 5 day event. But, you know, whatever, a 3-day event is fine. Very happy that it's going to be once a month. Love that. Love the fact that they're letting us get more of the scarce resources. I would have tweaked the amount of blue rings up just a little bit to like 15, but 6 Rebirth Crystals, that's fair enough. I mean, 7 would have been great because you already get 3 from your daily login, so then have 7 means that you would be definitely able to rebirth a toon at least once a month. But, you know, it is what it is. In any case, so now what I'm going to go over is basically the team composition. This event has helped me figure out a few things about champions in the game that will be viable for you if you're early to mid game, in this sense of whenever you hear any in-game players talk, you hear them talking about PvP. You don't hear them talking about PvE because PvE isn't worth it. Any toon that we level up to level 70-11 or 80-11 that's Rebirth is going to be able to handle any part of the campaign. It doesn't matter. They're going to win. So us discussing PvE content is more difficult. That's why on my channel I try to take them 60-10 first and just kind of show them off. But even 60-10 is pretty strong in campaign, and you know it's not going to really challenge you per se. So in this event, what I've come to figure out, or what I've come to realize is, 1, Bleeze is one of the best PvE taunters. She needs a little bit of time to ramp up, but she does stack up that awareness. She does stack up those mins. If you watch her in this, you'll see that she's stacking up mins and awareness and keeping taunt on her. So that is actually to your benefit. Hopefully this thing didn't just get lagged. Hopefully, and that is to your benefit, that as you go through a match and it's longer and longer and longer, she's stacking those mins, she's stacking that awareness, she's keeping the taunt on her, she's protecting your team, and she's tanky as all get out, so she's hard to kill. Now next on that list, and let me go ahead and double check just to make sure that this thing is scooting. Did I really just say scooting? I did just say scooting. All right, so now on top of that, that also gave me the conclusion that Superwoman is going to be the best PvE nuker. She's going to be the hardest hitting PvE red nuker. Azrael is best in PvP. Now, the reason why Superwoman's going to be better in PvE is because for her A5, P2, however you want to say it, her second passive, she gains 1 permanent empowered strength up for every turn. Now, as you see, because these, I did auto the whole thing. I never had to stop. I just kept the same team, and I was able to auto all of it. But as you can see, it's not exactly as though they can just wipe out the first wave immediately. And so as she's getting more turns, she's getting more and more empowered strength ups. So the longer she fights, the stronger she gets. Very Incredible Hulk style, which I probably shouldn't reference in a DC game, but you know what I'm saying. It's old school Hulk too, before they did this stuff, like 90s Hulk, 80s Hulk, 70s Hulk. That's how old I am. Not 70s. But yeah, so the longer she fights, the stronger she gets, and those strength ups just stay on her. And so what you'll see, and the thing that I was stunned by is, like, as we get to the end of this video, she is absolutely smacking at the end. She is taking out greens. She just, well, not one shot, but probably strong enough to one shot Superboy, a green, negative affinity. She's probably gonna lay a hit. Well, you'll see as the hits go on, like how hard she's actually able to hit when it comes to it. Let's see if I think she's gonna go at Bizarro right now. Let's see how hard she hits for. Oh, that was a pretty weak hit. Bizarro must be tanky as all get out. Is he? Let's see. She gets another hit now. She has so many empowered strength ups. She hit him for north of 60k and brought him down. Like, if he wasn't overhealed, if he wasn't one shot, then that would have been pretty damn close. So she's hitting really, really, really hard, because in these waves, she's able to stack up more and more and more empowered strength ups. It stacks up more and more and more crit ups. She's bashing heads, bashing skulls. I absolutely love Superwoman. Now, as far as it goes for PvP, Azrael is still going to be the better red nuker. He's going to be the most powerful red nuker. But he's not going to be as good in PvE just because he stacks those strength ups really, really quick, but they're not permanent strength ups, so they can fall off, especially if you're in a longer battle. So he's not going to be as useful in PvE as Superwoman would be. Superwoman's going to be way more useful in that sense of the word. Now, the key to all of this, and you heard Dr. Zabarro say it as well, the key to all of this working is actually Black Flash. So you should have Black Flash. If you don't, for some weird reason, Red Hood will work in this as well. However, if you have Red Hood and don't have Black Flash, I don't know how you manage to do that, especially given like the timing of everything right now, somehow. But the reason why he's key is that as Superwoman is knocking skulls around, she kills one, then that resets the chase by death ability from Black Flash. He goes, then resets the turn meter for all of the enemy, and then the other teams get a chance to hit them again. Martian Manhunter, I selected that lead because I wanted to be sure. I didn't know what to expect going into this, and so I wanted to be sure that I had a little bit of protection and that I was going first. I wanted to be the first one. So that is why you have Martian Manhunter at lead for me. I think he is probably the best lead in the game to me. I mean, that could be subjective. There could be other opinions, but because of this event, in this event right now, he's L5, but I took him RB1 yesterday just because of that event, because I just like him so much. So if you're going to try to build a team for this and you don't have these specific teams, I would say I built this team a lot like I would build a PvP team, so you would do the same. You need someone who's tanky and strong, who's going to take damage and be your taunter. But they have to be able to keep the taunt up, or at least get the taunt back. So, for example, Chemo isn't going to be the best for this situation because he starts off with taunt, but that falls off and then you're just lost. If you have a Donna Troy, she would probably also do pretty well here because she gives out awareness, she helps your entire team stay tanky, and she can regenerate that taunt with her A2. Or if you have a Power Girl can keep doing the taunt. Lobo would probably be fantastic in this. And honestly, I might just do Nightmare Campaign again today and just try to build a different team, maybe a more free-to-play friendly team, and see how that goes. And I should say free-to-play. It's not free-to-play. It's more early to mid-game, because you could be free-to-play and in-game in this and still have an awesome team. So, in fact, that's what Dr. Zabarro is. So, in any case, anyway, So in any case, you need a taunter that's like that, who can get the taunt back, who will keep the taunt up. Harley Quinn is not going to be great for this, only because her taunt is based on evasion ups. That's how she survives and protects your team. Evasion ups are very RNG based. So if you just get one bad batch of RNG in a battle, then your entire team is vulnerable. She's not tanky. She's actually pretty squishy. It's just that you can't touch her. Now you're going to need a huge damage dealer. Power Girl can take that spot because she does hit pretty hard. But you need, if you don't have Superwoman, Azrael. He'll work too. In fact, I think I just took my Superwoman L3 today. Yeah. But you should have Superwoman if you're playing this game right now. So level her up to the best of your ability because, one, she's going to be great in raids when raids come back around. She's going to be good for PvE for you if you haven't gotten that far yet. And she's going to help you get through part of this. If you're just now getting her and you can't really get her very high, like I said, but when this whole thing started, you're not going to get far in this. So don't get frustrated. Get as far as you can. Be happy that you got that far. Take the resources and bounce, okay? So you're going to need a heavy damage dealer. You could Star Sapphire would be a good example. She does deal damage more so than you would expect. A lot of people, at least from my side, who've been in the game for a while, don't necessarily see her as a damage dealer, but she does smack, so she would work. Black Adam, if you happen to have him, he would work. Trying to think of like just random other damage dealers that do. So Arcus works. Yeah, I think that's about. Larfleeze would work, but I haven't seen a Larfleeze pack in God knows how long. They haven't had an event for him since he came out with the first siege like 2.5 years ago. Actually, why don't they ever do events for Larfleeze? It's not like he's that great. He's not bad, but he's not that great. He's been power crept, so he's not that. Why don't they ever do an event for Larfleeze? Or for Star Sapphire for that, or not Star Sapphire, Starfire. I still haven't seen a Starfire event, and I've been in this game for 3 years. And she's not that great, but I would like to have her, play with her. Anyway, sorry, random. But try to find a good, solid damage dealer, preferably one that gives you an AoE attack. That would help as well. Or can manipulate turn meter. I mean, Kaga, I'm biased to. He's not a damage dealer though, so he could just help you with the turn meter, and that's where the role of Black Flash comes in. You should have Black Flash. If you don't, find someone who can manipulate turn meter in favor of your team. So you're talking about your Wally West, you're talking about your Kagas. You need someone who's not just manipulating turn meter for one. So for example, a Red Robin isn't going to be great in this role, or neither is a World's Greatest Detective. They're not going to be great in this role because they manipulate turn meter on single targets. But Kaga would be good in this role. Wally West, if you have him, would be good in this role. Anyone who manipulates turn meter for entire enemy teams or your entire team. And then at lead, I went with Martian Manhunter just because I didn't know what I was going to face, and I wanted to be sure my team goes first. If you have Cheetah, of course, she goes in that spot. Cheetah's way more farmable, so if you don't have Martian Manhunter, you probably have a Cheetah. Other than that, if you happen to have a Superman, he could take the role of that obnoxious tank that you need, the taunter that you need, and if you ever get hit with a critical shot, then he takes over as the protection for your team. So he could actually be good in that role as well. Off the top of my head, I think that would be it. I think those would be the only ones that you would actually be able to benefit from in terms of how you would build it. Tunes to avoid, like I said, Chemo, don't use him. I mean, if you want to try to use a bleed or disease comp, like that I'm partial to, that I've been in favor of, that might work for me because I'm in game and I can survive a lot of hits. If you're early to mid game, you need bleeds and disease to take time to actually take effect. You know what I mean? Like disease and bleeds are like a long game play, but that long game only works if your team is tanky and can withstand the hits that are going. And when I say long, of course, it's only like 2 or 3 rounds depending on how many disease you stack, but it's not going to really work here because they hit harder in Nightmare Campaign. They're going to be able to take out your team in Nightmare Campaign. So bleeds does work. Disease does not. Bleeds do not. So in any case, other tunes to avoid that I'm trying to think of off the top of my head now. I probably should have written this down, but that's basically it. If you don't have a deep roster, then you can only go with what you have. Hopefully you've been farming your power. Oh, actually, and this is a throwback to when I was early game. I actually used Power Go to help me get a guy who was key for me getting through PvE content, and that was Etrigan. Etrigan does stack a lot of intelligent ups, and they're not permanent, of course, but it does help you hit harder. It does help you smack harder. So Etrigan might be a good one to use in this if you have him. In fact, the more I think about it, I think I'm going to build a few compositions where I just go at the last node of Nightmare and then just see what happens with just different comps. Talking through this stuff like as I'm thinking about it right now. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that and maybe release a video tomorrow, just like a short video. In fact, you know what? I'll release a couple of highlight videos. I'm going to release a highlight video of this because I'm so impressed with, I mean, that was her AoE attack and she just did 41k damage on a negative affinity. It's nuts because of look at all those empowered strength ups. She's absolutely insane. So I'm doing a 126. I didn't see that the first time. Jeez. Oh, and now we're going into the final battle, which will take a while. So I'm gonna just focus on the battle, but what I will say is this. A lot of the numbers that I was seeing from Superwoman as she got later and later into the battles were just nuts. And I want to make sure to line things up because I'm watching on the delay that I have on my software. But Superwoman, by the way, seeing as how her event started today, today's Saturday as I'm recording this, and I should release this today as well. Superwoman knocks, like she puts people to sleep bedtime. And in the very beginning, like in this battle now, as you see, she uses her A2, she gains those 4 empowered strength ups. And one thing I don't do very, very often is I don't ring out all of my heroes because I don't think that it's always necessary based on the scarcity of, for example, based on the scarcity of blue rings versus what the return is when you actually max or ring that out. A lot of times if it's like I get 5% more damage just for using 8 blue rings, I'm not going to do that because it's not worth it to me. That extra 5% isn't worth it. I already got the thing handled. With her, I've already maxed out all of her abilities and kind of screwed myself over because I was saving those rings for Darkseid. So now I'm going to have to dump a bunch of gems into those events tomorrow, and hopefully I'll have enough. I'm low. I'm kind of gem poor right now. Hopefully I'll have enough so that I can get enough rings to at least get quite a few of the abilities for Darkseid up to 7 or 8. So I'm hoping, but they're worth it. When you watch how hard she hits, like that was against Wonder Woman, it was a 69k hit. That's positive affinity. I'm not even impressed by that. That's fine. And Wonder Woman POT is actually pretty tanky. She's very tanky for a blue. Well, at least for a blue against a negative affinity for her. So a blue against a physical red. In any case, as you see, I was, like I said, half asleep when I was watching this. And at certain points, my eyes were blurry and I was like going in and out, like falling asleep. And I was seeing certain numbers when she would smack. And I was like half unconscious, like, no, that can't be it. My eyes are blurry. I'm not really seeing really well. She didn't hit that hard. And then when I was watching the video yesterday, when I was recording this and my computer failed me, it was the truth. She was smacking so hard. Side note from the smacking. Why do we have such an itty-bitty Darkseid? They couldn't have made him at least giganticize. Look at him. We got a mini-me Darkseid. Are you serious now? Why do we have a Oompa Loompa Darkseid? He's so tiny. His head is so small. Look at it. He's cute. He's legit cute. I feel like if I show him to my daughter, she's going to be like, oh, sis. Like, he's so... 173, that was impressive, but positive affinity. He is so itty-bitty. Y'all could have scaled him up a little bit. He's Darkseid. He's supposed to be imposing and menacing. He's Superboy size. Kid Flash isn't scared of him. Anyway, so back to her smacking. As I said before, she's going to be the best PvE red damage dealer, nuker, however you want to phrase it. Let's see what she smacks for against. And here's the thing. I know that his health bar is already low. Ignore how she gets rid of the rest of his health bar. Let's see how hard she hits. Let's see what the number is that she brings. 81k. 81k on a negative affinity. And Steppenwolf isn't exactly squishy, okay? And then there were some other numbers that you're going to see in this wave. I can't remember if this wave is 296k on Darkseid. I think Darkseid is supposed to be tanky, and I know there's a positive affinity for her, That's 296k. You see those numbers in Raid. So I had a few technical difficulties, so now I'm rewinding again, going back at it again so you guys can see. But as I was saying about the numbers that she puts out, I'm gonna watch her take out our mini-me version of Darkseid, 296k. And as I was saying, those are the kind of numbers you see in Raid when you have a 5x multiplier on a tune or whatever. Like, you don't see that in regular campaign, and that is what she does because of all those Empower strength ups that are coming as the rounds go longer and longer and longer. She's just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So I've ringed her out. I rarely do that, but for her, I ringed out every single ability she has because I think she's just that amazing. So get her events going on right now. Grind for her. She's a great damage dealer. I absolutely love her. I know I try to be sophisticated, like I said in the other video, but sometimes it's good to just have someone that bashes skulls. As far as Nightmare Campaign, as we come to the end of this video, as far as Nightmare Campaign, I like it. I enjoy it. I wish it would reset like the other campaigns do, or that the other campaign did back when it was the anniversary event. I really wish they would have let it reset every day for the 3 days. It's just 3 days. Let us get those resources. So in any case, I like Nightmare Campaign. Can't wait for the one next month. I'm going to set up a couple of DC highlights or DCL highlights where I'm just going to do a couple different comps and then post them so you guys can see them. Really short videos, just so I can play around with it a little bit. So in any case, I hope you found this useful. I hope you found this helpful. Hope you found it enjoyable. Please like, please subscribe. My name is Angreifer. I'm not saying that to you guys. I'm saying that to Hate Mail and Dr. Zabarro. Love you guys. Angreifer. And I will see you guys next time.